Joining me is the mayor of Omaha, Nebraska, Jim Suttle. He is a Democrat in a red state. Mayor Suttle, really great to have you here today. I want to talk about this campaign that you've launched, this ad campaign, which really shows that you support assault weapons bans, high-capacity magazine limits as a Democrat in a red state. So let's talk about that first. Are your gun policies at odds with the broader opinion in your state, if not your city?
Well, in the city, not anymore. We see a rapid change in attitudes, and they're reflecting what you are seeing also on the national scene. And quite frankly, this whole incident in Newtown, Connecticut, matched up with what we saw here with two occasions in Omaha with the Von Mar shooting at the Westroads Mall in 2007. And then we had an incident at one of our high schools, Millard South, and about 2 years ago. So public sentiment is changing. They want to see some leadership, and I read this over and over again in my exposure to the citizens of this city. They kept saying, "Mayor, I don't feel safe. You got to help us." So I stepped forward and took a very bold move, but a move of leadership, quite frankly, to build in common sense and responsibility.
Can you outline specifically the gun control measures that you support and would carry through if you had support in Omaha? And then also specifically, if you can, what gun control measures would you not be so supportive of?
Well, I'm going to frame it this way because I will move slowly and cautiously but determined on this to assemble the right kind of a broad task force of our citizenry to determine several things. First of all, you and I have Second Amendment rights to own a gun. That's what the Second Amendment says. But we also have, our children have the right to go to school and be safe and not have the threat of gun violence in their classrooms. The same with family members that go to theaters or shopping malls or walk down the street. They have the right too. So we need to bring all this together and find the right middle ground. And I think in our civilized society, what we start with is, what is the boundary line between civilian weapons that are there for hunting, for sport, and for personal protection, with military weapons which are there for one purpose, and that is to kill. If we can get that definition in place, then the rest of the things we need to do in order to maintain a civil society with the absence of gun violence is going to fall in place. And that's what I will be putting together in my own way with my own task force here of our citizenry to determine answers to those questions.
Well, I think that sounds good. The problem I have, and we've talked to a number of elected officials about guns and about gun control, is that between task forces and different proposals, we hear a lot about assault weapons bans and high-capacity magazine limits. But if we just look at the numbers, the majority of gun deaths in this country are really coming from handgun violence. And that really brings me to ask the question, would you consider a handgun ban altogether? Because that's really the source of most of the violence.
Well, you're looking for one answer. There is no one answer to this dilemma. As we're finding in Omaha, as we address our issues of gun violence and any type of violence or gangs, you have to do a multiplicity of things. So as far as I'm concerned, this task force I will assemble so we can get the right ordinance written and then the right state law to ban military-style assault weapons and high-capacity magazines is one more step in the right direction.
I don't disagree with you, Mayor, and I agree with both of those policies you mentioned. But just in the interest of having a rational conversation based on facts, most of the deaths related to guns would not be in any way affected by the high-capacity magazine limit. Most are one-shot handgun homicides. And the definition of a, quote, military-style assault weapon also can just change, and manufacturers can get around that. So back to the handguns, which really is the source of most violence, as a progressive, are you saying a handgun ban is off the table?
I did not say that one way or the other. I went back to the format that we're going to use. We're going to decide as a civil society in Omaha, where is that boundary line? And right now, we're going to focus on this issue of the military assault weapons and the high capacity magazines. So that in and of itself will put us with the right guidelines, I think, for writing an ordinance and writing, proposing state legislation in order to do what our mission is. Then we can come back to these other issues. In the meantime, we're stepping up the pace on all kinds of fronts here as we deal with the illegal guns coming into our city to get those off the streets. We will continue that. We will continue with our community policing. We will continue with our thrust on jobs. We will continue to with our thrust on attacking the issue of the gangs at the top of the gang hierarchy. So, as I said, it's a multiplicity of things. We'll take one step at a time. I've taken a step here. We're going to see this through. Then we'll regroup and we'll see what else we need to propose.
So you're not preemptively saying that a handgun ban is off the table. You just have to wait and see.
You're trying to put words in my mouth.
No, I'm asking, Mayor.
Just listen to what I'm saying. We're taking steps one by one by one. As we put them all together, we are moving in the right direction. So we'll deal with this on what I've taken a leadership role to do, and we will get it accomplished. Then we'll come back and we'll regroup and we'll see what else we need to do.
All right. I know enough to know when I'm not going to get more of an answer. So the other thing I do want to ask, Mayor, is...
You're trying to jump to a place where you want you to be and me to be, and that's to be discussed on another day. Right now we're going to discuss what I did and why I did it, and we're going to follow through with what I said I would do, and that is seek a ban on military assault weapons and high-capacity magazines in Omaha, Nebraska. It's the right thing to do. It's a common-sense thing to do, and we can still protect our Second Amendment rights, yours and mine, in the process.
Mayor, how difficult is it when you're working within a city to pass legislation that supersedes or can overlap with what may be the state regulation? So, for example, in Chicago, we've talked extensively about Chicago gun violence and how easy it is to drive 45 minutes south into Indiana or north into Wisconsin and get guns and then bring them into Chicago. Talk a little bit about that, given that you're working in a city within another legal framework of the state.
Well, again, I'm an engineer. I'm a problem solver. That's what I've been doing all my life. So this is merely identifying the problem, getting, in essence, a task force of citizens and business people together on both sides of the issue to define how we're going to approach this. But the ultimate goal is to work things backwards. We will write an ordinance that fits Omaha. Then we will write a draft piece of legislation that fits the state, and we will go and push that in the unicameral in Lincoln as they debate the state law. And we will seek the permissiveness to allow us to pass the ordinance for metropolitan class cities in Omaha, Nebraska. Once that's done, then we can go in and address first class cities and others here in the metro and start more of a global way of getting this particular problem under control.
All right, Omaha Mayor Jim Suttle, certainly fighting an uphill battle there. Commend your work, and really a pleasure having you on today.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the questions, and we need to go to the future. Let's do it.
Thank you so much.